under any circumstances, under any state in the world, Mr. Speaker, unless of course they come from Mars, their country where this is a problem. Of course, we don't deny that based on their point, which was totally ridiculous. Mr. Speaker, number one, on dealing with what they claim a contradiction this side of the House, number one, we didn't talk about social contract. It was second speaker on that side, it was Michael the one that came out and talked about social contract. We say what we talk about societal impact. Get earbuds, darling. What we say is this, Mr. Speaker. Number one, what is justification for actually putting that 10 years limit there in the first place? They are taking a very soft stance case. What they should have done, if they really wanted to give us a hard time, they should have been taking a hardline stance and saying, look, you are now given the life imprisonment sentence. You either take that or you take assisted suicide, which we will provide you with, Mr. Speaker. They should have done that. Now, let's look at the repercussions that will take place when you give that 10 years. We say, look, number one, there's no justification for that in the first place. If you want to say, you want to make them realize about what they've done, we say, look, Mr. Speaker, even that is going to go out of the question when you become insane. Let me explain to you, a psychiatrist can only determine whether you're sane or not sane. He cannot help you go back on the right path. Or even if he can, it's very, very rare, Mr. Speaker. So what do you do with these people who go into prison, become insane, and then they end up not even making a choice and they stay there in prison anyway, just like what we want to say. We say that is the problem with their proposal. Their proposal is flawed on every single level, Mr. Speaker. And secondly, the whole level of setting the parameter in Malaysia. Wow, Mr. Speaker. We said, look, if you want to set the parameter in a country like Netherlands or Switzerland, we understand, because that is a country that champions the freedom of choice. Malaysia is a country which, Mr. Speaker, unlike the United States, unlike Netherlands, is not a secular state. Mr. Speaker, we champion sanctity of life. Let me do justification on that subject why the death penalty exists. They question us, oh, if the government is so concerned, why is the death penalty exists? We say, Mr. Speaker, there's a big difference between assisted suicide and the death penalty. We say, look, the death penalty are for criminals who have done real grave crimes, carrying marijuana above 2 kgs, Mr. Speaker, committing first-degree murder, multiple first-degree murder. That is what the death penalty is for. The death penalty is to punish people, Mr. Speaker. We say assisted suicide is a whole different thing. Assisted suicide is there for people to be given the freedom of choice to choose. Something that cannot be done in this country by law. They never proposed amendment to law, nothing on that side outside the House. Their whole proposal falls, Mr. Speaker, based on feasibility alone. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go to the clash points of today's debate. Why our proposal actually works, what people actually did, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, number one, freedom of choice versus sanctity of life. Look, Mr. Speaker, every single responsible government in the world, especially in the Senate in Malaysia, well done, even our government, we propose sanctity of life. We value the life of citizens, and that is why, Mr. Speaker, let me clarify, Mr. Speaker, since our country gained independence 1957 until now, about how many years? 53, 54 years, Mr. Speaker? The amount of people, touching my math skills, the amount of people that have actually got the death penalty are lesser than 50, Mr. Speaker. That's an average of what? Only 1 a year. Mr. Speaker, we said, look, the number of people actually getting death penalty itself are so few, and you are now creating a problem, imagining that this country is a barbarian country where we go around killing people, where 100 people are locked up in jail every day. Mr. Speaker, that's just rubbish, Mr. Speaker. Since when did our country ever have a problem with prisoners in the first place? Yes, we do have a problem with illegal immigrants, Mr. Speaker. We do have a problem with outsiders, Mr. Speaker, but not with prisoners, Mr. Speaker. No, I doubt Pudu prison is ever full, Mr. In fact, I bet that the wardens actually happy that there are no people in Pudu prison in the first place, Mr. Speaker. That is what we say. And I think a case in Malaysia itself is absolute ludicrousy from that side down. We say this government of Malaysia champions sanctity of life. Never have they ever championed the freedom of choice, Mr. Speaker. That's why they have legalized euthanasia, assisted suicide. That is why abortion is illegal, and that is why we say, based on that alone, their point fails, Mr. Speaker. Second, flashpoint. House principle versus redemption principle. They say, look, these people who are in prison are going to cause more harm than good to the people. We say, look, they never realize one thing that happens in prison. Inmates are given the chance to give back to society. How? community service, number one. Second thing, they allow to use their talent, art and craft, create artworks to be sold to society, and the money collected from them used to charity. These are the inmates' way of getting back into society, being socially accepted once again. Sorry. This is a second chance at life, Mr. Speaker. Something never ever even engaged by that side. They came, look, now taking a minute, second chance, sit down. And look, Mr. Speaker, they came on and said, oh, inmates are hassled, inmates are hassled. Then why just target these inmates with life imprisonment, Mr. Speaker? There are hundreds of other inmates out there who are not under life imprisonment, who are probably under 20 or 30 years in prison. Why not target them? Why not? Mr. Speaker, what is the dire need to target these inmates with life imprisonment? There is no problem in the first place. And we said, look, the whole redemption principle, our strive over theirs, because it does not give harm to society. In fact, it benefits society through what these inmates are doing to charity. Second thing, economic downturn versus economic boost. Bloody hell, Mr. Speaker. By killing a few inmates, how much is the country going to save? Illogical point coming out. That's Mr. Speaker. Absolute rubbish. On the fourth thing, we say, look, what actually happens is when these inmates sell their art and craft, Mr. Speaker, when they give back to society, when they start doing community service, building roads, they give back to society, they increase the economy, not decrease it. What logic are they? You're out of order. Sit down. Mr. Speaker, the fourth clash, negative versus positive impact on society. Mr. Speaker, they are stereotyping this life imprisonment, people life imprisonment, as giving negative impact on society. What do you think? My second speaker already said, look, Mr. Speaker, if this person is on parole, they never talk of parole, that's the house, their mistake. We said, look, if this person is given parole, Mr. Speaker, he's got a chance to come out, redeem himself, Mr. Speaker. If he has a family, Mr. Speaker, he can work for his family. And that is what we say. It gives more benefit to society. Society will have a better picture of him instead of him sitting in jail, him taking away his own life, which is against the law anyway, Mr. Speaker. And then, Mr. Speaker, we flash their point. They're hardly engaged in any one of our points. That's why we feel we're going to take this debate today. That I'm back to oppose. Thank you.
Yeah.